Do you know more than 700,000 international students are studying in Australia as of 2023? If you get an admission, it does not guarantee that you will get a visa. Since it's so expensive, it is not possible to earn that money with working just part-time or 20 hours a week. Getting an Australian degree does not mean you will get a PR. Australia is one of the top choice of countries for international students to pursue higher education, and I also chose the land down under to pursue my post-graduation. If you're new here, then I'm Akanksha and I moved to Australia in 2017, studied and worked there for 5 years and then moved to Canada in 2022. And today I'm going to share some things that I wish I had known before applying for studying in Australia, and this is something that every single student who is going to pursue higher education in Australia should know. A lot of education consultants hide these things, but I want to put it out there so you can make an informed decision about whether studying in Australia is the right choice for you or not. And this is What's Next AB, where I share everything about traveling on a budget, living in Canada, my experiences in Australia, and everything else that I try in life. Also, before we start the video, I want to tell you something. That I am not an immigration agent. I am not qualified to give any kind of immigration related advices. I am not that person. I'm just sharing these things out of my experience. These are the things that I experienced personally and all the knowledge I gained personally, which is what I'm putting down in this video. I am not an agent. Okay, first things first, people confuse admission and visa. If you get an admission, it does not guarantee that you will get a visa. There are different processes. Once you get an admission in a university or a college, mostly university, that is one part. Whether or not you get a visa is a second part and a whole different story. Admissions are provided by universities and visas are provided by Department of Home Affairs in Australia. And neither agents, education consultants or universities have any say in whether or not Department of Home Affairs will grant you a positive outcome to your student visa application. So it's very important to understand that if someone is saying that they'll get you the admission and then you will get the visa guaranteed, there's no guarantee. No one can guarantee you that. It's a whole different process, two different departments, and also the application for an admission and the application for a visa are two different things completely. So once you have got an admission, that is like a basis on which you apply the student visa. You can't apply for a student visa before you get an admission. So yeah, remember all these things when you are getting into it. One thing that is a big surprise to people who have just come to Australia and who are recently starting to study is the fact that Australian study pattern is very different from what we are used to back in India or Pakistan or Bangladesh or like any other South Asian country. When I was studying in Macquarie University, I had to go through a lot of change in the study pattern and I was so confused. I think it took me about 6 months to get used to the new study pattern. Even the lectures we had attended, they were not like you have to take notes and stuff. They were like very interactive and very explanatory. They were like book reviews and journal reviews, all of these things which were very different but very amazing and interesting. So be prepared for these kind of changes to happen because the study pattern is very different in Australia. Okay, one thing I want to point out that a lot of people think they will be able to do but is practically not possible is getting your tuition fee arranged while studying in Australia. Australian tuition fee is very high. Sometimes it can be around $20,000 a semester or $25,000 a semester. I started off with paying $14,000 a semester. That is 6 months, one semester. And it went all the way up to $18,600 by the end of it. And my partner paid even more for his studies. And tuition fees has also risen in the past few years. So it's very important to remember that since it's so expensive, it is not possible to earn that money with working just part-time or 20 hours a week. Because the amount you have to earn for the tuition fee and the cost of living, it's not going to be enough. And while you're here, why don't you hit the subscribe button and give me a thumbs up if you think the video is helpful and useful. And I would be very grateful, very happy if you do that. It helps me grow and bring this video out to other people who are also wanting to study and get more knowledge about studying in Australia. So it would be really amazing if you do that. Getting a post-study work permit after finishing a course is not a guarantee. Again, it's not like an obligation for the government to provide you that. When you finish your course, you are eligible to apply for 485 post-study work visa, graduate visa, only if your course is 2 years or more. It is CRICOS registered, you finish the course in time, and you are not like flunking anything, and you have like that bachelor's degree or master's degree in hand. That is when you get to apply for the 485 post-study work visa. And Acceptance or rejection is again dependent on the Department of Home Affairs and on the case officer. It's not a guarantee that you will get it. So please remember these things. Please get your head cleared that you don't get it. You have to apply for it, and then a decision is made based on your case. And in the same topic, I want to stress that your course should be CRICOS registered, CRICOS. So when you're studying for a course or looking for courses, just make sure you have this CRICOS code in there, because if not, then you will not be able to apply for the 485 post-study work visa. Now, you have finished your studies, you have gotten your degree. Now this is how you get permanent residency, right? Is that what you're thinking? Wrong. Getting an Australian degree does not mean you will get a PR. Getting an Australian degree is just a first step towards permanent residency if you want to apply for it, again, if you are eligible for it. It is one of the few steps that make you eligible. Also, just like an Australian degree does not give you much of a leverage, you just get 5 extra points for studying in Australia. Once you get a degree, if you want to apply for permanent residency, you need to get it assessed by the relevant authority. There are a lot of different skills assessing authorities in Australia. If you want to use your degree towards your permanent residency, doesn't matter if it's Australian or foreign, you have to get it assessed and they will deem whether it's relevant to the occupation you're applying towards or not. Okay, to explain this better, let me take a few steps back. You have completed your degree, now you want to apply for permanent residency. You can't really just apply for it based on your education. What you need to do is you go into the skills occupation list and see whether the education qualifications that you have and the work experience that you have matches with any of the occupations in the skilled occupation list. For example, I work as a marketing specialist, right? That is my occupation. I go into the skills occupation list and see what are the occupations available for a marketing specialist to apply for PR. There is marketing specialist role available. So now, to apply for this role, I need to have a degree and relevant work experience. So now, here's where it all comes. Even if I have an Australian degree, I need to submit that degree to Vet Assess, who is the skills assessing body, and they will assess my degree and my work experience and see whether it fits the job description of marketing specialist in their list. Making sense? I know it's pretty complicated. That's why I spent so many years learning about it. But once Vet Assess assesses my skills based on my education and my work experience, they give me a positive assessment. If they think that my degree is relevant, what I've studied is relevant, but my work experience is not relevant, they will not give me a positive assessment. And if they think that my degree is not relevant versus my work experience is relevant, I might not get a positive assessment either. There are a few different ways you can get a positive assessment, but only if you get a positive assessment is when you can go and apply for permanent residency in Australia and create your expression of interest. That was a lot. Okay, so does it make sense that getting a degree does not mean you can straight up go and create a profile, lodge your expression of interest? And one thing to remember, does not matter what you have studied, what occupation is in demand, you can only apply for permanent residency based on the occupations that are in the skilled occupation list. So when you go into the skilled occupation list, check for an occupation and see what visas is it open for. So some occupations may only be open for certain types of visas and not everything. So you have to just cross-check if the visa that you are going to apply for is actually accepting that occupation or not. Or if you have an occupation which is not even in the list, like what I had studied was forensic science. Forensic science is not in the list, so I can't really go and apply for permanent residency based on what I have studied. Also, just an FYI, getting an Australian degree does not mean that the skills assessing authority will positively assess it. It has happened with me multiple times. I got negative assessments because certain things were not falling in place and were not relevant. I was talking to a friend a few days ago and he said that the agent he's talking to about studying in Australia, he said that you can finish your studies, get your work permit, and then you get your PR. It's as easy as that, and it is not as easy as that. Let me make that clear. Permanent residency depends on a lot of factors, including age, your IELTS score, your degree, your work experience, your spouse, a lot of different things. And no one can guarantee you permanent residency in Australia. Ask me, I have tried for 5 years and I did not get it. There are a lot of different factors and a lot of different people trying to misguide you just for their own benefit. So my advice would be to go and do your research. If your end goal is permanent residency, find out how to get it, find out what are the ways, find out the study pathway, the work pathway, the direct pathway, and then go for it. I mean, just don't listen to random people, random agents, because their motive is just to get business from you. They won't even bother talking to you once they're done getting your admission and everything, because that's where they get their commission from. Permanent residency is not guaranteed. No one can guarantee you that, and you have to work towards it. You have to be eligible towards it, and once you are eligible, you apply for expression of interest. If your expression of interest is picked up by the Department of Home Affairs, you get an invite. When you get an invite, you apply, your documents get checked, and that is when you get a grant. Not before, not after. So remember these steps. It's very complicated, I know, but I hope I am able to explain this in the most simple way possible, and I hope you're understanding. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section, because I know I fumble a lot and I mix up a lot of things. So if you have specific questions, put them there, I'll answer them. Okay, the last thing that I want to tell you all is that in-demand occupations do not mean a pathway to PR. In-demand jobs like AI, forensics, a few different very niched fields that are very up and coming in these days, specifically artificial intelligence, does not provide a pathway to PR. Also, MBA does not provide an easy pathway to PR in Australia. It is possible that these fields are very up and coming, are very much relevant in the industry, but if they are not in the occupation list, you can't get a PR. There's no pathway to PR for that. Like, I studied intelligence, counterterrorism, and policing, and there is a lot of demand for this job. It's a very dense role. It's very useful. It's very in this time, it's very required, but these occupations are not available in the skilled occupations list, so I could not apply for PR. So remember that if you're applying for a course that's very different from what's in the occupation list, if there's nothing relevant to from your course and your work experience to the jobs that are available in the list, you can't really do anything, and you can't apply for permanent residency in Australia. It's very important to understand the difference between in-demand jobs versus skilled occupation list jobs. Okay, so these were the few different things that I thought you should know if you're applying for studying in Australia. I was a student there myself. I did not know these things. I was like the least guided person over there, and I figured these things out as I went, but I think by the time I figured it out, it was too late. So that is why I am relaying all of this information to you, so you get to know all these things beforehand and you prepare yourself for your study life in Australia in a better way than I did. And if you like this video, if you found it useful, you know what to do. Give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, because that's all I need from you. That's all I need, and all your support is always appreciated. And I will see you next week with another video, another topic. And if you have anything else that you want me to cover, put them in the comment section. Any questions are welcome. Do not ask me for immigration advice, because I don't know. I mean, I don't want to give out wrong information. So if you have any other questions that are related to my experience, put them there. I'll definitely answer. I try and answer everything in the most timely manner possible. I might slack sometimes, but bear with me, I have lots to do. And I hope you got a lot of information, and I hope this video was useful. I'll see you next week. Bye.